My name is Ashley Baker, and I was the same age I am now when my family taught me the most expensive lesson of my life. It happened on a beach, of all places. The sky was painted in shades of amber and soft pink as the sun dipped toward the horizon, the ocean stretching endlessly in front of us like it didn't have a care in the world. A warm breeze carried the smell of salt and sunscreen, and for once, my shoulders weren't tight with stress. I was sitting at a small beachside bar with my best friend Emily, our sandals kicked off beneath the table as we shared a plate of fries we didn't need and cocktails we definitely overpaid for. Emily was laughing about something ridiculous. I don't even remember what, and I remember thinking, this is what peace feels like. It was my first real vacation in years. No overtime shifts, no family favors. No, Ashley, can you just help with this one thing? Ringing in my ears. I finally felt like I could breathe. Then my phone buzzed. I barely looked at it at first. I assumed it was a random notification, an email, a promo, something meaningless. I picked it up casually, still smiling, still half listening to Emily. That smile vanished the second my eyes focused on the screen. Bank alert, $55,000 withdrawn. I blinked. Then I stared. My thumb hovered over the screen as if touching it might make the message disappear. I refreshed the app. Once, twice. The number stayed the same. My chest tightened so suddenly it felt like someone had reached inside me and clenched my lungs in their fist. No, I whispered under my breath. Emily noticed immediately. Ashley, what is it? I couldn't answer her. I couldn't even look at her. That money wasn't just sitting in my account. It was my future. Every late night, I'd worked while my friends went out. Every weekend, I said no to trips. Every sacrifice I made so that one day I could afford a small apartment of my own, something that was mine. And now it was gone. My fingers started shaking as realization crept in, slow and sickening. There was only one way this could have happened. My parents. Years earlier, I'd given them access to my account. It seemed harmless at the time. Responsible, even. They're my parents, I'd told myself. If something ever happens to me, they should be able to handle my finances. But I had been clear, crystal clear, only for emergencies. Only for something truly important. This was not an emergency. My heart pounded as I dialed my father's number. It rang and rang. No answer. I called again. Still nothing. Emily leaned closer. You're scaring me. What's wrong? I tried to speak, but my throat felt sealed shut. My hand shook so badly I almost dropped my phone. I called again and again. 10 minutes later, my dad finally picked up. What's going on? He said casually, like I'd interrupted him in the middle of watching TV. I didn't even say hello. Why did you take $55,000 out of my account? There was a pause on the line. Just long enough for hope to flicker, the foolish hope that this was all a misunderstanding. Then he sighed, almost bored. Oh, that, he said. Your sister got a really good job opportunity. She needs to be there first thing tomorrow. We can't have her showing up to a prestigious place in a suit on a bus, so we bought her a car. I felt dizzy. You bought her a car? I whispered. Yes, he replied. You'll earn more. She needs it now. We'll talk later. And then he hung up. Just like that. I sat frozen, my phone pressed to my ear as the call disconnected. Around me, the beach kept living its carefree life, waves crashing, people laughing, glasses clinking. None of it felt real anymore. Emily's hand landed gently on my arm. Ashley, what happened? When I finally told her, her eyes widened in disbelief. She started talking fast, trying to calm me down, telling me we'd figure it out, that maybe there was a way to reverse it. But I wasn't listening. I already knew one thing with terrifying clarity. I couldn't stay there. There was no universe where I was going to sit on that beach pretending everything was fine while my parents used my life savings like it was spare change. That night, I ended the vacation early. We were supposed to stay 4 more days. Instead, I booked the first flight back to the States. Emily didn't argue, but I could see the disappointment in her face. She hugged me tight and told me to call her the second I landed. The next morning, as soon as the plane touched down, I didn't even go home. I called Emily a cab, apologized over and over, and told her I needed to do this alone. She nodded, understanding more than I wished she had to. Then I got in my car and drove straight to my parents' house. My hands were gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white, and there it was, parked in the driveway, gleaming in the morning sunlight like a cruel joke, a brand new car. My money, my years of sacrifice, sitting there in polished metal and tinted windows. I just sat in my car for a long moment, staring at it, my heart pounding in my ears. That was when I understood something had shifted. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was betrayal. And it was only the beginning. I don't remember opening the car door. I don't remember slamming it shut. All I remember is the sound of my own heartbeat pounding in my ears as I walked up the driveway, each step heavier than the last. The front door was already open, and laughter floated out like nothing in the world had changed. Like my life hadn't just been stripped down to numbers on a screen. Inside, my parents were in the kitchen. My dad stood by the counter with a mug of coffee, relaxed, comfortable. My mom was leaning against the island, smiling as she scrolled through her phone. And my sister sat at the table, legs crossed, completely absorbed in her screen. They looked happy, normal. My mom turned first. Her face lit up when she saw me. "Oh, Ashley, you're home early. How was the trip?" For a second, I wondered if I was in the wrong house. I just stared at her. She tilted her head, confused. "What? Why are you looking at me like that?" "The trip," I said slowly, my voice sounding far away, even to my own ears. "You mean the trip I had to cut short because you stole $55,000 from me?" The room went quiet. My dad sighed like I'd just accused him of forgetting to take out the trash. He set his mug down carefully. "Ashley, don't be dramatic. We didn't steal anything." I felt something snap inside my chest. "You took my money," I said, my voice rising despite myself, "without asking. And you bought her a car. How is that not stealing?" My sister finally looked up. She rolled her eyes. "Relax," she said. "I needed a car. You'll earn more." The words hit me harder than I expected. You'll earn more. Like my time, my effort, my future were unlimited resources she was entitled to. I turned to my dad, searching his face for, I don't know, guilt, regret, anything. "So you really thought I wouldn't care?" I asked. "You thought I wouldn't notice?" He shrugged, actually shrugged. "We knew you'd notice eventually, but this was necessary. She has a great opportunity. It wouldn't look good if she showed up on a bus." My hands curled into fists. "She doesn't even have the job yet," I said quietly. Silence. I looked at my sister. She wouldn't meet my eyes. A hollow laugh escaped me. There was no humor in it, just disbelief. "You took my life savings," I said, "for a car she might not even need." My mom finally spoke up. "Ashley, we were going to tell you. We just thought you'd understand." Understand. I turned and walked back outside before I said something I couldn't take back. The car sat there gleaming, perfect, untouched. A physical reminder that my trust had been converted into something I couldn't undo. I reached for the driver's door. "What are you doing?" my sister snapped, rushing after me. "I'm taking it back," I said. My mom gasped. "Ashley, don't be ridiculous." My dad stepped in front of me, blocking the door. "That car is paid for. Let it go." "With whose money?" I asked. He didn't answer. I stepped around him, unlocked the door, and got in. My sister's face went pale. "You can't do this." "I can," I said, starting the engine. "And I am." I pulled out of the driveway while they shouted behind me. My phone started buzzing almost immediately, call after call lighting up the screen. I didn't answer a single one. I drove straight to the dealership. The entire way there, I clung to one thought. This can still be fixed. I'd explain the situation. I'd show them the bank statement. They'd understand. They'd reverse it. Inside the showroom, everything smelled like polish and fake optimism. A salesman approached me with a professional smile. "I need to return this car," I said, my voice tight. "It was bought with my money without my permission." His smile faltered. "All right, ma'am. Do you have the bill of sale?" "No," I admitted. "My parents bought it. But I have proof the money came from my account." He nodded slowly and typed into his computer. "What name was the purchase under?" I gave him my father's name. He typed for a few seconds, then stopped. The change in his expression made my stomach drop. "Ma'am," he said carefully, turning the screen slightly toward me, "you're not the owner of this vehicle." "What?" I whispered. "It's registered to your sister." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. "That's impossible," I said. "They use my money." "I understand," he replied, sympathetic but firm. "But legally, your sister owns the car. Only she can return or sell it." I stumbled back, my hands shaking. They hadn't just taken my money. They'd planned it. My phone buzzed. My sister's name flashed on the screen. I answered before I could stop myself. "You registered the car in your name?" I demanded. She laughed. Actually laughed. "Duh," she said. "It's my car." The line went dead. I sat in the driver's seat, gripping the steering wheel so hard my fingers ached. My vision blurred, but I refused to cry. Not here. Not now. They thought they were smart. They thought I was trapped. They were wrong. I started making calls. First the bank. No luck. I'd given my parents access. Everything was authorized. Friends were shocked, sympathetic, powerless. Then Mark called me back. "I know someone," he said. "A lawyer. His name's Tom." I didn't hesitate. Tom listened quietly as I explained everything. When I finished, he said one sentence that changed everything. This could be fraud. I drove back to my parents' house with my phone on speaker. They were sitting in the living room, waiting, expecting me to fold. I smiled. Mom, Dad, Sis, I said lightly. Say hello to my lawyer. Their faces drained of color as Tom spoke. Unauthorized use of Ashley's funds could constitute financial fraud, he said calmly. If she presses charges, you're all in serious legal trouble. Silence. My sister exploded. She wouldn't do that. We're family. Tom laughed. Family doesn't steal $55,000. My dad tried to reason with me. Ashley, be reasonable. No, I said coldly. What's unreasonable is thinking I'd let this slide. Tom laid out their options. Sell the car and return the money, or face legal action. My mom panicked. My sister went pale. My dad crossed his arms. We're not selling the car. Tom sighed. All right, Ashley, I'll start preparing the paperwork. As I walked out, my sister shouted after me, You're tearing this family apart. I turned back once. No, I said, you already did. I didn't go home after that. I drove until the anger settled into something colder, sharper, the kind of clarity that comes when the shock wears off and all that's left is truth. They had never expected me to fight back. They thought I'd cry. They thought I'd yell. Maybe sulk for a few weeks and then quietly rebuild what they'd taken, just like I always did. They didn't expect paperwork. The next morning, I was at the DMV before the doors even opened. I sat in a plastic chair under buzzing fluorescent lights, clutching a folder filled with bank statements, screenshots, and notes I'd barely slept compiling. Every document felt like proof, not just of theft, but of intent. When my number was called, I explained everything. Calmly, clearly, no emotion. The clerk listened, eyebrows knitting together as she flipped through the pages. She disappeared into a back office for what felt like forever. When she came back, she nodded once. We'll file this as a fraud report, she said. The vehicle will be flagged immediately. My breath caught. Flagged how? She won't be able to sell it, transfer it, re-register it, nothing, until this is resolved. For the first time since the beach, I felt something loosen in my chest. By noon, I was at the bank freezing my account. The same teller who'd smiled at me for years now looked uncomfortable as I explained why. She typed quickly, avoiding eye contact. You should have done this sooner, she said quietly. I almost laughed. By the afternoon, I'd filed a police report. I wasn't pressing charges, not yet, but I wanted a record. A paper trail that couldn't be erased with apologies or guilt. That was when my dad called. I let it ring. Then again, and again. Finally, I answered. What did you do? He demanded, panic bleeding through his voice. I protected myself, I said. You went to the police? He snapped. Are you trying to destroy us? I stared at the wall of my apartment, suddenly very calm. No, I replied. I'm responding to what you did. My mom's voice cut in, frantic. Ashley, please, we can talk about this. You didn't have to take it this far. You took it far, I said. I'm just catching up. By evening, my sister was blowing up my phone. She screamed. She cried. She threatened. She accused me of ruining her life, her future, her chances. Then the messages changed. The car won't start. The dealership won't return my calls. Why can't I transfer the title? I didn't reply. The next day, their lawyer reached out. Tom laughed when he saw the email. They're panicking, he said. Good. A meeting was requested, neutral location, calm discussion. I agreed, on one condition. No yelling, no guilt, just facts. We met at a small cafe near downtown. My parents looked older than I remembered. Tired. My sister looked furious, arms crossed, eyes burning holes into the table. My dad didn't waste time. We're in serious trouble, he admitted quietly. We didn't think it would come to this. You didn't think, I said. He sighed. We can't pay you back all at once. That's not my problem. My mom reached for my hand. I pulled it away. Ashley, she whispered, tears forming. If you push this, we could lose the house. That was the moment something finally broke. Not in me, but between us. You used my future, I said evenly. You didn't ask. You didn't warn me. You planned it so I couldn't undo it. And now you want me to care about your consequences? My sister slammed her hand on the table. I needed that car. You wanted it, I corrected. There's a difference. Silence stretched. I laid out my terms. Sell the car, I said. Return whatever money you can, or I press charges. My dad looked at my mom. My mom looked at my sister. My sister shook her head violently. No, absolutely not. And just like that, the meeting ended. 2 days passed. Then my mom showed up at my door. She looked smaller somehow, defeated. She refuses to sell it, she admitted. She says it's hers. She says you'll cave. I leaned against the doorframe. She doesn't know me anymore. I closed the door. That night, my phone rang again. It was my dad. His voice sounded hollow. We're selling the car. They took a loss. After fees, depreciation, and penalties, they wired me $43,000 in. Not everything, but enough. Enough to walk away. I packed my things that same week. Left the house I grew up in without a goodbye. Emily's family took me in temporarily. Her dad helped me open a new account. Secure, locked down, mine. A week later, my sister texted me one last time. I hope you're happy. You ruined everything. I blocked her. With the money I got back, I put a down payment on a small apartment. Nothing fancy, just quiet, just safe. When my parents found out through a relative, my dad sent one text. Congratulations. My mom sent paragraphs about family and forgiveness. I didn't reply. And the final twist? My sister didn't get the job. All of it. The stolen money, the car, the lies. For nothing. She ended up buying a used car with her own money. Poetic. I wasn't angry anymore. I was free. And I learned something I'll never forget. Blood doesn't mean trust. The quiet was what surprised me most. After everything, the shouting, the accusations, the threats, I expected some dramatic fallout. Another confrontation. Another ambush disguised as a family talk. But instead there was silence. Real silence. The kind that settles in slowly and makes you realize how loud your life used to be. My new apartment smelled like fresh paint and cardboard boxes. It wasn't big. The floors creaked, the kitchen was barely wide enough for 2 people, and the view was just another brick building across the street. But it was mine. No one had a spare key. No one had access to my bank account. No one could decide my future without asking. The first night I slept there, I lay on the floor, wrapped in a blanket because my bed hadn't arrived yet. The room echoed when I breathed. I stared at the ceiling and waited for the familiar guilt to creep in. It didn't. Instead, I felt something else. Relief. A week passed. Then 2. I settled into a routine that didn't revolve around managing other people's expectations. I worked. I cooked simple meals. I went for walks in the evening without checking my phone every 5 minutes. My boyfriend Daniel came over one night with takeout and a bottle of cheap wine. He didn't ask questions I wasn't ready to answer. He didn't tell me how I should feel. He just sat beside me on the floor and said, "I'm proud of you." I didn't realize how badly I needed to hear that until my eyes burned. The messages from my family slowed to a trickle. My mom tried once more, a long voicemail about forgiveness, about how families make mistakes, about how holding on to anger only hurts the person carrying it. I listened to the whole thing. Then I deleted it. Forgiveness, I realized, wasn't the same as access. My dad never called again. When we crossed paths months later at a relative's birthday, he looked older, smaller. He nodded at me like I was a distant acquaintance. My sister wasn't there. I heard through the family grapevine that she was still angry, that she blamed me for forcing them to sell the car, that she told people I'd chosen money over family. I didn't correct the story. Let her have it. Because here's the truth no one tells you. When you finally stop being the easy one, people get uncomfortable. They prefer the version of you that stays quiet. That absorbs the damage. That cleans up messes they didn't make. I wasn't that person anymore. A few months later, I stood on my tiny balcony one evening, watching the city lights flicker on. The air was cool, peaceful. I thought back to that beach, the sunset, the laughter, the moment my phone buzzed and everything changed. If that withdrawal hadn't happened, I might still be living in a house where my trust was a resource to be used up. Losing that money hurt. But losing the illusion hurt more, and in the end, what I kept was worth far more than what they took. I kept my independence, I kept my boundaries, I kept myself.